So what is Just One Chesed? So Just One Chesed's goal is we're trying to inspire people to do Chesed. And one of our main things that we have is we have a platform on mobile Android and iPhone and the web to connect organizations with volunteers. We found that organizations have a hard time finding volunteers, and volunteers want to do good. But sometimes they don't know where to turn. Organizations don't call them back, or they just want Chesed at their fingertips. Essentially, we created the Uber for Chesed. Thank God we launched our app in about October to the public, and thank God a tremendous amount of Chesed has been done through the platform. Right now, a few months ago, we connected with an organization in Tel Aviv called Stardach. Stardach is an organization that helps organizations with their technology. They work in the high-tech industry during the day, and we collaborated with them to make our platform 100 times better. And over the next couple of months, we've been planning for the past 4 or 5 months on the new platform that we're going to build, upgrades that we're going to build, and we're going to start building it in the next couple of months, please God. I'd like to thank Khani from the UK for emailing us to do an event like this. She's been watching all of our Zoom events from the beginning. We were one of the first organizations to start doing the virtual events. And she emailed us, she wanted an event like a Chizik for Aliyah. And we put something together because she emailed it to us. So if you have any ideas of a future event that you would like to see Just One Chesed come up with, please email us. Also, I would like to highlight a new Chesed project that someone reached out that they wanted us to highlight. It's an organization, Partners in Aliyah. It's a grassroots Chesed project bringing together Jews in the diaspora with Jews living in Israel in order to facilitate Aliyah. Please visit partnersinaliyah.org today to create your profile and get connected to people who have already made Aliyah and who can help you with your Aliyah journey, communities, jobs, finances, education, and much more. And obviously, Nefesh B'Nefesh is always there for anyone that is considering making Aliyah. Reach out to Nefesh B'Nefesh as well. Okay. I would like to ask everyone to download the Just One Chesed app on your local iPhone, App Store, Android, whatever it is. Please download the app and help us continue. Donate to Just One Chesed, justonechesed.org/donation. Help us continue with these events. To build our platform, we need a tremendous amount of money, and we need a lot of help. So I would like to thank everyone for coming on, and we're about to start. Let me just see if they're ready. I don't see that their camera is on. Let me just see. 1 second. And also, if anyone is going to have questions and they want to have questions throughout the panel, I would send the questions on the chat. Send the questions on the chat, and maybe I'm going to highlight your video so you can ask the panelists live your questions. Send your questions on the chat. If it's a question that we like, we're going to highlight you, or I'll ask the question for you. But please say your name and where you're from, and send your question in on there. 1 second. Let's see their camera. Okay, I'm sorry, there's going to be another minute, just a technical issue. They're working with the camera and the Zoom and all this kind of stuff. I'd like to thank, again, Rav Itiel Goldwicht, Danielle Renoff, Rav Avi Shapiro, and Rav Tzvi Rohn for joining us today. They're all fantastic people. I'd like to thank my sister-in-law, Talia, for putting this together at my apartment in Yerushalayim. And I would like to thank Sasha on the video. And thank you all for coming. Spread the word. Tell people to join us. We're going to be another minute, guys. Interestingly, I actually made Aliyah this year. Thank God it's been a very, very smooth process. We're a small family of 3 right now. And it's been an amazing, amazing process. We love living in Yerushalayim tremendously. We love it so much. There's nothing like it in the world. What's the website for people to help with Aliyah? It's partnersinaliyah.org. Again, if you have any questions, send it in the chat, and we'll try to get it to the panelists to hear you. Again, download the Just One Chesed app, justonechesed.org. Download the Just One Chesed app in your local app store, Android or iPhone. Help us continue with our platform, with our events, spreading Chesed in the world. We really appreciate it. justonechesed.org/donation. I think we're going to be another minute. I'm waiting for them to give me the okay. I'd like to thank the founder of Just One Chesed, Jerry Leitenik, for all that he does for Klal Yisrael. We really appreciate you and all that you do. Sorry, we're going to be in another minute. Just hold on, guys. Again, I'd like to thank Khani from the UK for sending us this email to get this an event like this done. We really appreciate it. Again, this event will be recorded, so we will send it out to our email list, please God, after the event in the next couple of days. Okay, here we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Rav Itiel Goldweft, Rav Avi Shapiro, Rav Tzvi Rohn, and Danielle Renoff. We really appreciate it. Here they are. They are all amazing. Again, send your questions. Send your questions on the chats.
Is that all right?
Here we go.
Okay. Thank you, Joe Klein. This was, we were waiting. There's anticipation. We're building up. We have a few different cameras over here, and it's really exciting. We have a tremendous, tremendous program here today, really trying to get, you know, the feeling of what it's like to move to Eretz Yisrael, to make Aliyah. And I'll tell you what today is about and also what it's not about. It's not going to be where do I register and what are the benefits and all of those technical questions. There are great organizations out there. You want to check out Nefesh B'Nefesh and other great organizations. That's a great thing. And that is going to be about is hearing the personal stories of amazing individuals that many of you know or have heard of or follow and understand. You want to get an insight of their life. Last 2 months, 3 months, really shooken up the entire Jewish world. And there are questions. And all the last few parshios we were learning about the Jewish people about to come into Eretz Yisrael. And there's a lot of difficulties. There's a lot of challenges. What's going to be our perspective? What are we going to focus on? What are we going to look on? And that's what today is about. This evening here in Israel, morning, this afternoon, wherever you're around the world, we're excited that you're here with us. All about seeing their personal journeys and what these people that are with us, what they are choosing to focus on. What they chose to look at and what is their success? How did they make it? What were their challenges? And that's what today is all about. So I'm not going to introduce them. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We're going to start with right away to my left. Or
yeah, let's start with the celebrity.
Okay, we'll start with ladies first with Miss Danielle Reno.
Hi, everybody. I'm Danielle. I'm the creator of Peas, Love, and Carrots, and I absolutely love that. I also just wrote a cookbook, which is Please God, coming out July 31st, which is basically a month from now. What? I am very, very excited about it. It is really beautiful. I cannot wait for you all to see it. I worked really hard on it. I actually happen to have worked on it with the amazing graphic artist who happens to be Rav Itiel's wife, Ariella. And which is one of the many reasons I'm lucky to live in Israel, because I moved here and got to meet her, and that was like just a beautiful shidduch. When you see the book, you'll see it. And I'm really excited to be here tonight. I moved here 13 years ago with my husband, Baruch Hashem. We've been really, really lucky to build our family here, and I love every minute of living here. I didn't always feel like that, but I do feel like that.
Okay, we're going to get to that in a little bit in the journey. That's right. We're going to move on to Rabbi Tzvi Rohn, or Tzvi Rohn.
All right, I'm looking on the camera.
Yes.
Hey there, I'm Tzvi Rohn, Rav Rohn they call me. I teach at Midrashat Moriah, Midrashat Harova. I teach in yeshivas. I'm all over the place. And I made Aliyah 2 times. I made Aliyah in 1986 with my family right after high school. And then after being a shul rav in Richmond, Virginia for 10 years, made Aliyah with my entire family a second time. We've been here 16 years since then. And I live in Neve Daniel, and I'm also a barber in Neve Daniel. Maybe some of my customers are out there, so there you go.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Tzvi Rohn. And Rav Avi Shapiro, the famous Avi Shapiro of the Shapiro Minyan and Shul and Shari Chesed. Tell us a little bit about yourself, when you came here.
Okay, thank you, ETL. I'll take it from here. So my name is Avi Shapiro. It's part of the bigger Shapiro clan that I'm sure many of you already know. I moved here with my beautiful wife, Stacy, about 20 years ago. And we came right after we graduated Yeshiva University. And what happened was that I basically, the only way that I was going to come to Israel was with a job, So I ended up starting off in the high-tech industry, working with some famous entrepreneurs. Ilan Grobin was my first boss. And it's been an exciting 20 years. Basically, like Danielle has said, it's been a thrill to raise my family here in Yerushalayim. I can have 8 beautiful children.
Okay, we're going to get to that and
We're
how
gonna
you
get to
raise
that.
them and the different journey in the Israeli high-tech world. I think people are really interested about that. In fact, I want to say we're going to divide our topics into 4 different issues, which are the core issues that I want to discuss with you today, which I think are the issues on people's minds. Number 1 is the community. Where to live? Where should people be living? How do I find the community that's right for me? How do I find the right parnasa? Make sure I have the right parnasa. How do I leave my family? What do you mean I'm going to move to Israel? I'm going to leave my family behind. And also the chinuch of our children that are older, children that are younger. Where to raise them? Where do we find the right community? These are questions that have been on everyone's minds. A lot of questions. We got hundreds of questions coming in for this panel, and we're really excited. The truth is, I would like to start with you, Rav Ron. If we're talking about community, you live in Neve Daniel.
Yeah.
That's very much a community life. Share with us why you chose there. What are the types of communities in your
all right, so I'll tell you what happened was that I grew up in New York. My wife also grew up in New York, but we made Aliyah from Richmond, Virginia. So we got used to a small town life, and we said when we come to Israel, we want to live in a small town. And I'm not a big guy who wants to do a men's night out and tell, hey, what are your hobbies? Let's, do stuff together. I'm not involved in that kind of stuff. My wife kind of a little bit is, but if you go to
men's night out?
yeah, no, she invented a thing called ladies night out from Neve Daniel. But I would say that I didn't want to go to a place where I'm just anonymous. And here is a place where even passively, people know you in shul, and then it's good. It's good. Even if you don't make any effort, you become friends with other people to the degree that you want. I don't want to get into anybody's business, but it's good. It's good. I felt that in a city, I just become like a nothing, and that I didn't want. That I didn't want. I hitchhike to work every day. I stand at the end of Neve Daniel. People give me a ride in, it's nice. I like that kind of small town kind of thing.
So I'll get back to Neve Daniel in a second.
Yeah.
To contrast that, you two live in the city. You live in Yerushalayim. What's it like? Is there community life over here? Is there anything like that? Let's zoom out for a second. Is there we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. For me, coming to the city was not a question, because if I was picking up and leaving everything in America, I was coming to live in Yerushalayim. So we came to Yerushalayim. We ended up in Rehavia because Ellie wanted to go live in Shelvim. I wanted to go live in Harnov. So we came to Rehavia. 13 years later, we're still here, and we love it.
One of the things that people are nervous about in the city is community. Do you find a community? Do you have to create your own community? How does that work?
It just happens. I think that if you put me in the middle of nowhere, I would end up with a community. I think it's a personality type. Some people need people to come to them and bring them out of their shells, and I'm a shell taker outer.
Okay,
so,
that's good.
It happens, thank God, naturally. And Rehavia, I think, is the best community. So no, I mean, Neve Daniel's awesome.
Right.
But
Okay, so if we're talking about Rehavia, Shari Chesed, Nachlo, that area, Avi, you were from the pioneers in that.
Sasha.
It's okay. We're going to be moving really quickly between
Just
everybody.
stay zoomed out.
We have a great videographer with us, and we're going to need him 100% so that the viewers at home can see the thing. Avi was from the founders, or I would say you were pretty much a pioneer in Rehavia, Nachlo, Shari Chesed area. And in fact, you even started a shul. What was that like? And was that in a search for a community that you didn't find?
So essentially, when we did get here and we joined the Shari Chesed Yerushalmi ancient, it's one of the oldest communities in Yerushalayim, the Anglo aspect of it made it easier to adapt into the Israel life. But obviously, when you're davening in the Gra or you're davening in Kal Hasidim or the other shuls in the neighborhood, so you really want to find somewhere where you feel at home, somewhere where you feel comfortable. So it did take us about 8-9 years to create the KBM or the Shapiro, Minyan experience. But now it's been going for about a decade, I would say, and it emanated from wanting to create, our own vibe, something that obviously, from the perspective of being able to give and share some of our talents, our singing talents, our warmth, our love for tefillah, for Eretz Yisrael. And
For anyone who doesn't know, Avi Shapiro is Mordechai Shapiro's and Duvi Shapiro's brother.
No. Mordechai and Duvi
Are there, right? That's right.
brothers.
Avi Shapiro taught them everything they know. He just decided to move to Eretz Yisrael and not be a professional singer like they are. But yes.
yet. It could still be in the cards. Still could
That's
be in the cards.
right.
But so it's been part of building that community. Obviously, as a pioneer, my brothers came to live here with me. My friends came to live with me, and you build a community around each other.
Okay.
And we were like again, what was really unique is that none of us really had any parents here. I don't think any of us have parents here. So it's a very, very special community where we all take care of each other. I mean, growing up, like now we're sort of starting the next chapter in life of marrying off our kids, please God, Bezat Hashem. But for the past 20 years of, bringing in the children to Avir Eretz Yisrael, so we all assisted each other with meals and with helping.
Amazing. So you feel that sometimes when there is a community that is, you wanted a certain community that you felt you knew from Chutz La'aretz, but you wanted to upgrade it to Eretz Yisrael style, so you had to create it yourself. And that's a very important nakuda that we need to keep in mind, because part of Eretz Yisrael is creating that, right? Because you came in with a certain Anglo feel, and that's some of the questions that we had. We have a certain Anglo feel that we're comfortable with, and you come to Eretz Yisrael, the community life is a little bit different. So what you guys did was created that, took the advantages of the Avir Eretz Yisrael, like you're calling it, but yet you brought in your own ruach.
Yeah, and you can do that here. That's what's exciting. I used to say that Israel is like the Wild West, You're a pioneer. You set it up how you like it. You do whatever you want.
Amazing.
Amazing. People let you do it, and that's fine,
So even in Neve Daniel, an established community?
Yeah, sure. We have, a children's class, we call it, and an English language shir that didn't exist beforehand. You just do whatever you want. It's fine.
Amazing.
Because in America, you have all this backlog of, well, listen, we've been doing this for 100 years. You're like, there's no 100 years here,
You start a new
Yeah, you just do whatever,
It is more nuanced than that, though, because it's not just that you come from America with your American culture and you come to Israel and you're like, something's missing. I need America here. It's not that. It's not that you need to recreate America here. It's that you come, let's say, like in our example, you come to Rechavi, to this amazing, beautiful community, and let's say the shul sort of, it wasn't that it was like, I want to bring America here. You weren't trying to create an American shul. It was like, we just need a shul where we fit in necessarily, or a place where we feel comfortable. And then it's better than this thing that was in America, because now it's like, it's these American people that grew up with their life experiences, came and lived in Israel for a long time, and took in those experiences and took all of those experiences and created something amazing in Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim. And it has the best of everywhere, because it got to pick and choose, and it got to enhance everything. And it's not just taking America and plopping it here. And I think oftentimes people think like, oh, but you live in an American community, you live in this. There's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as an American community. You come here, the culture seeps in, you can't help it. And if you do a good job of taking the best from everywhere, then you did the best thing you could.
Beautiful.
And it's amazing.
Amazing. So let's carry from that point that you just said, which is on a lot of people's minds, it's family. Like, you left your family.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but it seems that the way you're talking about your community, does that replace family, or you can't replace family?
You can't replace your family, but your community is, I'm saying, for community, friends, whatever you want to call it, I'm saying, yeah, they're a big part of your life, much more. Like Elliot, my husband and I both left big families in America. We both come from the same town. All of our family lives within a mile of each other. And I don't really feel a void. I mean, I would love my family to come and live here with me, because, there's nothing like your mother or your siblings or something like that. But like, I don't feel chaser in any way. I feel very fulfilled. I love my community. Like, and the truth is, like, we've had to see like the best from our community in the worst times and the best times. And like, I never for 1 second was like, ugh, why do I live in Israel when I'm going through this? I literally never for 1 second, I thought, thank God I live in Rehavia. Thank God I live here. Thank God there were people taking care of us when we couldn't take care of ourselves. And like, I think that you can come to Eretz Yisrael and you can find a home and you can find a family. And you know what? The hardships that me and Ellie endure from not being with our family is a sacrifice we make because our kids won't endure that. Our kids will, Be'ezrat Hashem, have their parents here. They'll have their siblings here. Their kids will have their cousins here, please God. So good. We took one for the team. Okay, we could do it.
Okay, amazing. And what is it like that in Neve Daniel?
Well, my family, I'm an example of a family that lives here. By now, everybody lives here. By now, you know, someone took it for the team, but by now, everybody's here and our close family is here. All the kids, they wind up in school with their cousins now and all that kind of stuff. So this is where the core of the family over time shifted to here. And, you know, someone's got to make that first step. But ultimately, you know, once somebody sees that you can do it, then the axis of the family starts shifting. And then
okay, let's put on the table though another thing. Hashkafa. Neve Daniel has a specific hashkafa. I'm assuming Rehavia has another hashkafa.
We
So-
should define.
Is it more of a political type of a place? Is it more right wing as opposed to left wing? Are you living in the Shtachim? People are asking, like, if I move to a settlement, are you interacting with Arabs? Like, these are the types of questions that people want to know.
look, the fact is, for real, when you live in the settlement, you interact with Arabs in a, I would say, more friendly way than in the big city. Because we go shopping and there's Arabs going shopping with me and they show me peanut butter or that paste made out of those caramel crackers that's smashed up. What do you call that? And they're saying, what is this thing? You know, because they don't know. And I'm explaining to some Arab, oh, this is like lotus cookies crushed up, you know, things like that. So that's a nice thing. That, you know, we actually interact with them on a personal level. And I think it's really nice. I think it's fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
And
It's kind of funny because I worked for a high-tech company called Freightos, which employed over 100 Arabs from Ramallah. And I also had a social interaction with them.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon, even though like you might think it's scary, but
So for many,
On a personal level,
Yeah.
it's just,
okay, just so you guys should know, probably for many of our viewers at home right now, they're like, what is this? But let's put this conversation is all about being real.
yeah.
Saying there is interaction.
Yeah.
In your eyes, it's okay.
Yeah, you're like, hey, how are you?
No, I have no interaction. I drop my kids off. Thank God everybody is Jewish. I go home. Everybody is Jewish.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
there's always a Filipino.
Ideology.
Yeah.
People want to know part of their community building and also like their family structure. Ideology is very much a big part of it. They feel, I live in Brooklyn. I live in the 5 towns. I want more of a Haredi community, but it's not as Haredi as I want it to be. Or I'm modern Orthodox. I want a Dati Leumi, a Tzioni type of community. But it seems that it's not necessarily a clear shift. Just because you're modern Orthodox, you're not necessarily fitting into the Dati Leumi Tzioni. And just because you're Haredi working in America, yeshivish, doesn't necessarily mean that you're fitting into
Right.
the...
It's not the same exact kind of definitions.
Okay, so
it's
how,
not the
how
same
is it
kind
from
of
your
thing.
angle? Like,
Look, Neve Daniel, I would say, is pretty homogenous in the sense of, you know, everyone's kids go to the army, that kind of stuff, and, you know, tend to be right wing, but not like crazy. I mean, but, you know,
You're a fanatic.
yeah, but like light fanatics. Light, you know, listen, as long as there's someone else who's more fanatic than you, then you're okay, you know. But in a small town, that's what happens. But then other places, like my mother lives in Chashmonaim, I feel Chashmonaim is like West Hempstead, you know, they got all kinds of... There's like all kinds of people. There's like, oh, you know, there's like this person, that person. It's not like such a big deal, you know.
Modi'in is also big.
Yeah, Modi'in is like, it's a big city, melting pot.
so that might be a question. Is that because Neve Daniel is officially, right now at least, a settlement and Chashmonaim is not? Is that the difference where you need to be a little bit more...
It's also because it's smaller. It's smaller. I would think if you go to Efrat, which is still in Gush Etzion area, but it's a big city, there's a bigger spectrum of people, you know, in terms of like, how they would dress maybe and how they would vote and things like that. It has to do with the size,
Within the spectrum, it's still limited. Like there's not a Haredi community in Hashmonaim.
But there's an occasional guy who wears a hat on Shabbos. There's that guy.
There's that guy. Okay, because I think all of these concepts actually mesh into one another, because that is the reality of living in Eretz Yisrael. You need to find your niche, and we're going to get back to all of these, because I think our chinuch is going to, when we discuss chinuch, and I want to finish a little bit more with chinuch, and it goes back to community life and to the family and what type of life we want to live. But I want to veer for a second to Parnasa, because Parnasa is very much on people's minds as well. Like, what exactly, how can I make a living here? Can I make a 6-digit living over here? Can I really make it big? Is it hard? Do I need to juggle a few jobs? Should I even be thinking about moving to Israel unless I have a job? Like, let's be very realistic, very real, because that is very much a hardship for a lot of people who want to move here to Eretz Yisrael. Avi, I would start with you, because like you said, you've been in the Israeli high-tech industry, so I'm really going to split it into two questions. Number one, it's ultra-orthodox in the Israeli high-tech industry. Some people, have a lot of yeshivish, lady guys who are working in high-tech or in real estate, in nursing homes, and everything like that. I actually do that in Israel if I don't have the education and the certificate or whatever it might be. And also, what's the ecosystem here like in Israel? So,
Okay, fair question.
this is what people are really interested about, because if they don't have a parnasa, they feel like it's hard to make it.
So I'm going to start off by saying the following, basically idea that I share with anybody that calls me. I actually do get a lot of calls from people that are making Aliyah. I have a lot of friends. So the first thing that I tell them is, if you don't have emunah and bitachon, so you can't make it. Our business, parnasa, hishtadlus is second. Here in Eretz Yisrael, it is really all about emunah and bitachon, and that's what I tell everybody. I tell them straight up. I said, and this was before Corona in America. This is 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I said, here's how it works. If you come here with the intention that you're not leaving, that's it. I land, I'm here. And the Ribono Shalom will show you nisim and it flows, and he'll let you stay. That's it. If you're the wishy, I'm coming here to try it, I'm testing it out, I'm gonna dip my feet, I'm not sure, then it's gonna be rocky waters. It's gonna be rocky waters. I mean, of course, there's always nisyonos. Listen, I'm painting a rosy picture.
But there's always rocky waters.
There's always rocky waters. But if the person has the fortitude to say that I'm coming here and I'm staying here, you mama seen this in influence.
You got to be all in.
All in. You got to be all in. And it's a tremendous level in bitachon. I think that all of the stories that we hear about, like how Israelis make it, buying diras for their kids. Yeah, I just bought a dira for what? I don't know. Like a lot of the Americans actually don't do it, but the Israelis are all doing it, successful in making it work here. So getting back to your specific question.
Number one, you got to have bitachon.
Yeah, you have to have, the emunah has to be that the Ribono Shalom wants me here. Right, for 2,000 years, let's just like focus on that concept just for a little bit. And for the past 2,000 years, Klal Yisrael has been in quote unquote galus, and now the Ribono Shalom has opened up the doors for us to live in Eretz Yisrael. And the cheshbon is, well, if I don't take advantage of this opportunity, what are they going to say to me?
Great.
Like,
so somebody's got his mindset on right. He's like, I'm excited. This is an opportunity. Hashem has been knocking on the door. I'm ready to come. But practically, what am I going to do when I move?
What's beautiful about Americans is that Israelis need your English. That's it. They need there are thousands of startup companies that are looking for professional salespeople, for professional marketing people. Sales and marketing specifically for the Anglo community is very relevant in the high-tech industry. And to be honest, you can make a very great 6-figure salary. I don't want to say how much everybody else is making, but you can make a very healthy 6-figure salary here in Israel, involved in many different industries, in the real estate industry, in high-tech industry, in blogging industry, whatever. I don't know.
Unless you include sense.
Okay.
But the navigation of it is different, right? Meaning it's a different navigation system than you would find in New York, in LA, where people already have their.
Yeah, it'll be different again. Everything has its challenges, and you'll come here and you try to figure out before. What we found always is that nobody gives a job to anybody that's just standing, like that's on the other side of the river,
Yeah.
pond. It's a very, very classic thing. I'm about to come. Like, okay, when you come,
And call.
that's a very,
Right.
very important thing. Yeah, it's usually you can try, but some people actually do have it. And now that there's different levels of investments and VCs and things like that, finance, there's so many different industries that are thriving here in Israel.
Yeah.
Israel is literally thriving. So.
Okay, and when it comes to chinuch, a lot of people there are mechanchim, who are rebbeim, who are mechanchot, are asking, you've been in the chinuch industry.
Yeah.
Here. What's that like? Parnasa-wise, I'm talking.
Well, it's not so much six figures, not
Okay.
so much. But I will tell you that I think a mechanech I think anyone who comes has to be flexible. You got to be open-minded to all kinds of opportunities.
Oh.
And also, look, you have to also understand the Gemara says that Parnasa is difficult like Kriyat Yamsuf. And the Gemara, that's talking about the whole world. Parnasa is not super easy anywhere. So Parnasa is, it's an avoda. You have to deal with it. But here, what's good about Israel is that it's okay for a guy to be a Rebbe in a yeshiva, and he does some painting on the side. He's a house painter also, or a barber like me. And then
really is.
yeah, and that's cool. And that's cool. In America, they're like, what? Oh, you better be a doctor, lawyer, accountant, or a dentist. Otherwise, you do whatever you want. You unplug people's toilets. It's totally fine. It's totally cool.
Actually, plumbers make
Plumbers is good, right? I give people rides to the airport. I teach Gemara in the morning. I give people rides to the airport, and that's fair. That's and if you're open-minded to that, and you're saying, look, that's cool. Eretz Yisrael, everything is kadosh in Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, no, that's great. And that's what you have to be open to.
So that ideology really gives you that energy that everything you're
Yeah.
doing is your
That's right. You're sweeping the streets in Yerushalayim, making a more beautiful place. This is very kadosh.
And there's also the opportunity of being unique in Israel and connecting to an American audience. That's what you do, Danielle.
Yeah.
In a certain way, you bring a uniqueness. The fact that
when I started, everybody told me the odds were against me. Like, you live in Israel, your time zone, you're so far, you can't travel, you can't do this. And it's actually only benefited me being here. Actually, the time difference, I'm a little bit ahead. Like, my dinner is always ready when people are waking up. They know what ingredients to buy. But I'm saying, you don't know, it's from Hashem. Everything is from Hashem. So you come here and you have all these plans, and you need to plan. Nobody's going to come here and hands everything to you on a silver platter, right? Like, you go through Nefesh B'Nefesh, they're going to take care of all this paperwork for you. And that's amazing, by the way. That's silver platter in and of itself. And you get off the plane and nobody's going to say to you, oh, let me escort you to your newly furnished home and your brand new job. And here's your car and here's your kids' guns. But that doesn't happen anywhere in the world. It's just that when you grow up, let's say in America, you grow up in England or South Africa or wherever, and you understand that culture, all that stuff feels more accessible to you because it's culturally familiar. So you come here and it's less culturally familiar. So yeah, you have to grasp a little bit farther to pick the apple from the tree, but the apple is there. You just have to stretch your hands a little farther. And I just think that's what it is in Israel. And, I really think what Avi said is right. Like, with Emunah, your arm will reach the apple. But you have to have Emunah and you have to do the work. You have to put out your arm and you have to have Emunah that Hashem is going to help you reach the apple. And you do all the work you can, you get here, and the rest of you have to leave up to Hashem.
amazing.
I wanted to add one thing, just because my wife is here in the studio audience. My wife is a speech pathologist. In America, she worked at a hospital. She came to Israel. She opened up her own clinic, and she's making much better parnassa here than she did in America. So yeah, and she says, look, here you could.
Because there's like a million speech therapists.
I know. She, and she's her own boss, and it's fantastic. So
Okay, we're gonna get in 1 minute. We're gonna get to questions actually from the audience, and so if you have any questions, this is a good chance to put them in the chat. Joe.
Do you want to take it?
We're going to take it in 1 minute, but before that, I still want to ask one final question, which I think is on your mind. But if you have any questions that are processing as you're hearing from people, this is a good opportunity to send them out on the chat. And Joe from Just One Chesed is going to pick randomly and try to choose a good questions and spotlight you on the screen so that we could see you and that you could interact with the people that are here on the panel. But the final question that I want to bring to your attention is really the question of chinuch. You know, we were speaking a lot about community and about parnasa and family, but on people's minds is chinuch. I want to raise my kids. I want to raise them. Usually as parents, we want to raise our kids in a unique way. You know, chinuch is always interesting in it that it's an extension of ourselves, but we want them to be independent and to grow by themselves. So it's always that balance of like, we want them to go the way we want, but we know they're going to be somewhat different. When it comes to Israel, people are nervous that it might be totally different. It might be way different because the switching over is not always exactly in line. You know, the yeshivish community in America is not exactly the Haredi community over here. The modern Orthodox community in America is not necessarily the Dati Leumi community over here. And things in Israel seems to be a little bit more intense when it comes to education. So how did you choose where to send your children? How did you choose what type of hashkafa to have? We'll start with you, Avi.
Thank you. So it's a great question. And people have asked this also for years, that there was an assumption that the chinuch in Eretz Yisrael is subpar to the education in America. It is an absolute false. Absolute false.
Wow.
I can tell you that my oldest daughter is now graduating with a architecture degree, which she can get a job right after she finishes. She just graduated high school last year. She has a 2-year graduate program. Part of this, the Beis Yaakov Seminary, they have it's called Yud Gimel Yadalit, 13th grade and 14th grade, and then they get a job in that profession. Programming, cyber, there are a lot of this in cyber, which is the space that I'm in, architecture, graphic design. I mean, they're building the generation of Haredi girls to be able to get professional jobs, work in an environment which is matim for them. They start tracks in 10th grade. They start learning how to do something that's interesting. They take aptitude tests in 9th grade and 10th grade. I don't remember growing up in MTA taking an aptitude test saying, what are you good at? No. By the time I got to YU and I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll go into sales, you know? But it's
they can't offer.
not only that, so that's the girls' education is brilliant on a super high level, math, sciences, Yiddishkeit.
What about the boys?
So the boys, it's probably on the same level as some, again, from the Haredi perspective, the boys do get a tremendous avos Torah. Like, it's something that you cannot compare, at least from my perspective, and again, how I grew up is totally different to what the yeshivish people in America grew up. But the avos Torah that they get here and the amount of knowledge that they get here in Eretz Yisrael is so intense and so beautiful that not only are our kids enjoying it, they're thriving in the Israeli institutions. And I'll tell you like this. There's two things. One, I want to mention one thing. Two things. Okay. One thing is that the school system has changed over the last 20 years. Okay. What used to be people who grew up in Israel 30, 40 years ago and made Aliyah, they had to really adapt. We know many people in Shari Chesed that didn't speak English in the home because they didn't want their kids to feel out of place in the school if they had an English accent. It's not like that anymore. The English people, the American people, the English people, they're all, at least as far as I'm considered, and the one in the school, they're respected, they're honored, they're treated from our perspective the same. There might be an old school culture of the Americanos. Yeah, it's not like that anymore. So the past 20 years, we've seen a tremendous shift in acceptance of the Anglo community.
Amazing.
Number two is just to pinpoint how beautiful the education system is, as an example that my wife and I always give. When the kids take a trip up north and they take a trip, do you know where they go? They also go to Abu Vim, which is like some sort of water ride or kayaking, something like that. But they go to Meir Balanes and they go to Rishon Baruch, because they're always infusing this spiritual aspect of Eretz Yisrael with the physical fun of let kids have a good time.
What's it like in Neve Daniel? It was because you've raised your kids here.
Yeah. Look, we picked a school that was the Mamad Mamlechti Dati, and that's basically the religious public school. So that is, we thought it was fantastic. academically rigorous, and the Limudei Kodesh I thought were fantastic. And there's a big difference. Kids who learn Hebrew and know Hebrew, and then they could just open Sfarim and read Sfarim. That already puts them miles ahead. And they're connected.
Nice.
They're so connected. There's not that barrier of the translation and all of that. That's a whole big deal. I'll tell you, even my kids were studying for the Bagrut, which is the Israeli SAT, and they have these phrases, and the phrases that you're supposed to know, like the whole country, is Aramaic phrases from the Gemara, because that's like the Shakespeare of Israel. To say like, what does Shakespeare say? My salad days when I was green. But here it's like mi igra rama lebira amikta, and you have to know what that means, because that's the culture here. That's amazing. Also, the math is years ahead of American math. It's crazy.
Do you feel that you had to supplement in terms of English studies, or supplement in terms of Limudei Kodesh?
I'll tell you what we did. We did at home everything English, because in school it was a lot of Hebrew, and all we needed to do was maintain the English at home. That was all we had to do.
That's how we decided.
Yeah, which is not that hard. You just speak in English.
I
mean, we'll turn to the mother in the room, because Shema b'ni Musar avicha v'atitosh Torah simecha. What's the mother's feeling? You send your boys to cheder here, to school here.
I really agree with everything they said. I mean, I never educated children in America, so I can only compare the education I got to the education they're getting. And I don't really think they're lacking in anything. Again, my boys learn math at a pretty high level. I see, compared to our nieces and nephews where they're at, my boys' math is totally on par. Science is okay, but I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll be a doctor. They'll go take science classes later. But the point is that the girls are learning at a very high level. That's totally fine. And I think, I don't think any American parent here would be disappointed with that.
And that's across the board in all different types of schools.
The girls is all across the board good. But the boys in Haredi schools, let's say there's less of a focus on secular education. The focus on Jewish education is so advanced and so, they're so stimulated, and their minds are so sharp from learning Mishnayos, from the way they...
Wait 1 second, guys. 1 second, guys. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Danielle, 1 second.
Beyond that, in terms of education of America versus here, I think a lot of people, when they come here, a big part of the fear is that, in America, you send your kids to school and your school does everything, A to Z. Not only does your school teach your child math and science and Chumash and how to speak Hebrew, maybe, but it also teaches your child how to behave properly, how to have midos, how to get along socially. It teaches them hashkafa. It teaches them how to behave at a Shabbos table. The schools do everything. In Israel,
because the kids are out of the home until 6 o'clock.
Exactly. It's a totally different mindset. Here, when you come here, you don't realize that the school, you choose a hashkafa, and the school gives a love for Torah, and the school does the work it needs to, but then your children come home, and it's just a different thing here. Your child is absorbing so much from the home in a way that doesn't happen in America. And it's not a better or worse, it's just a reality. It's a different type of system here and there, and you can give over so much to your children from your home in Israel in a way that can't happen there, because maybe, even though we have 6 days of school here, the kids are just somehow around more, they're home more.
Well, the school day is shorter.
Yeah, things are centered
it's like
around
public school in America.
It's a whole family life. Everything is centered around family. And yes, the school is giving hashkafa, but it's just giving the hashkafa. You have to follow it through here. And I think that when you come here and you send your kids to school, you'll see how really beautiful it is, that your influence on your children is so great in a really amazing, profound way. And it actually relieves a lot of the stress of what kind of school am I sending to? What are they absorbing in school? Because they're really absorbing a lot from you too here.
Amazing, amazing. We're going to turn now to hear questions from people who are on. We have hundreds of people on, also watching on Instagram, following us. So a lot of people are sending in questions, and I want to turn to get questions. But the one thing that I see that is the common theme over here is that there are challenges. It will be difficult, but if your mindset, which is really like, that is how Eretz Yisrael is nikna. If your mindset is focusing on, having your kids at home, like you just said, and getting your education, that's so hard. And oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Or it's so beautiful, like if they're a part of my life. Everything has that duality. They're going to learn Hebrew and English. Oh, it's so hard. I don't know it. But no, they can. So it's really, it's the mindset. And it's amazing to see that. And that was your attitude and your hatzlacha and your success in moving to Eretz Yisrael. So I'm not sure how we're going to do this. I hope this really works out. So we're going to try. Joe, we're going to send it back to you. And you are going to ring up people here. We have this computer right in front of us. Everyone could see the question, and they could address the question to one panelist or to everybody. And we're going to try to keep it flowing as much as possible. So, Joe, we're passing it on to you.
Yes.
You know how to.
Do you hear me? Do you guys hear me?
We will be able to hear it. So we're looking forward to hear the first question from.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, I think earlier on a person asked, I'm not going to highlight the person because I'm not sure who it is. They didn't put their name. What is the Israeli culture really like? I keep hearing it's a very rude and aggressive culture. Is it really?
You want to turn us into Miraglim? No.
No.
We love it here. That's why we're still here. All of us moved a very long time ago. We're still here. Obviously, we don't think it's so bad.
It's not bad at all.
No.
I'll add something.
Not bad.
You have to ask somebody that came on vacation and left.
Yeah, no, again, what happens is that if you're coming here on vacation and you're experiencing the airport control, passport control, so you're like, oh, everybody's obnoxious because
The
the guy
passport control in every
stamped my
country is
passport.
obnoxious.
Yeah, the TSA everywhere is awful.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying, you know what's beautiful about that question? What is the culture like in America? This is something that we haven't really, we haven't bashed, no bashing here.
Yeah.
Keeping it positive, but having my children walk around New York City is not the most ideal place. The culture there,
Yeah.
the things that they're learning. One of the things that we literally marvel over, that's the beautiful word, my English is coming out. We marvel in December, the months of December and January, is no Christmas lights, no Grinch, no nothing.
But yet we have a holiday atmosphere.
No. The Israeli culture.
But it's Hanukkah.
This is what one of my friends who moved here, Donnie Reich, I'll give a shout out to him,
Right,
who
Donnie,
moved
great
from Passaic. He says it the best. He says in America, you go through the year and you celebrate Jewish holidays. Oh, it's Pesach, and then 5 minutes before you get on your plane, go to Florida. Whatever. We're not gonna say that, right? And but there's no such thing as like Tu B'Shvat. What do? It's either a softball game or Lag Bomer. It's an outing. It's another softball game, right? So here in Eretz Yisrael, you live the calendar.
Yeah.
That's what he says. You live the calendar, and why? Because even though there might be secular and religious and non-religious, the entire country is living Tu B'Shvat.
Yeah.
A month before Tu B'Shvat, dry fruit come out everywhere. You can't see non-dry fruit, right? A month and a half before Hanukkah, donuts everywhere.
But
No, he's right, though.
You're right, and this is amazing. That is though.
You
But at
live
the
in
end
a
of it,
Jewish culture.
we're living Judaism here.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people are sometimes tough. That was the question.
It's not
Is it
that
have
it's not
you-
tough.
have you
If I dropped you in the middle of Paris and you tried to interact with a bunch of French people and you spoke English, you wouldn't have a different experience than you would have in Israel.
Yeah.
It's just that the culture is different. People speak to each other differently. Rebbetzin Spetner, it's one of her earliest classes, and it's such a brilliant thing that she tells these American mothers. And I went home and I told Ellie, I'm like, there's no real word in Hebrew for please, right? Americans make it up and we say bevakasha. But bevakasha doesn't really mean please. And in Israeli, won't really say bevakasha tavili kos mayim. They'll just say tavili kos mayim. And that's culturally acceptable for them because that is how they speak. This is their land, it's their language, and that is how they speak. We as Americans were very uncomfortable with that. So we inserted the word bevakasha. But when an Israeli is translating that into English and they're saying, give me a cup of water, they're not yelling at you. They're not saying, give me the cup of water. just that word doesn't exist for them because first of all, it's like a pleasantry. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to like sugarcoat everything. We need to make it nice. Like they're fighting wars here. They don't have time for pleases. Just give them the cup of water. But like, no, it's true. Like she really makes all these mothers realize when your child comes home from school, you know, for a lot of American mothers, we send our kids to Israeli gans or Israeli schools and our kids come home and they're speaking like this. And we're like, how dare you speak to me like that? That's so chutzpahdik. It's not chutzpahdik. It's not chutzpahdik. This is their culture. We brought them to Israel. We're sending them to Israeli schools. They're Israeli. And that's how they're speaking. And it's okay. So a lot of these miscommunications are miscommunications because the same person that yelled at you that, you know, whatever, you weren't moving fast enough or slow enough in the street or whatever, that same person is going to help you when your groceries drop on the floor. Or if, God forbid, a bomb goes off, that person is going to throw their body on top of you.
Yeah.
They are. That's just how Israelis are. And it's just passion. Like, it's just cultural and just passion, and they love you as much as they're
willing to fight with you.
Yeah, but they don't. It's coming
But
from
it's like
love.
family. When you're with family, like you could talk freely.
So you're saying yes, there is a little bit of a toughness. But it's a cultural difference. It's a passion, and that passion, when you focus on it, you'll see that there's a lot of advantages.
Absolutely,
amazing.
Yeah,
I would say that the hardest thing as an American, I think, is really like the bureaucracy, is dealing with, like, let's say you don't speak perfect Hebrew, paying your bills or things like that, but that's not Israel's fault. That's my fault.
Yeah.
I picked up and moved to a
gotta know
country
Hebrew.
where I
You gotta
can't
learn
read
Hebrew.
the bank codes.
And bureaucracy
Like,
is hard everywhere.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my job. But again, I take one for the team because my kids will be able to understand those bank codes.
Right. Amazing. So, okay, Joe, we're back to you.
There's another great question from the crowd. He doesn't want to go on camera. It's Jacob. I'm not sure where he's from, but he asked, could the panel talk a little bit more about the school options for Anglos and what the potential differences in hashkafas may be between the schools and the American from hashkafa?
Okay, so I think the question is like schools. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get into any specifics on this panel, but just like the different options. You know, you spoke about mamad and you spoke about a Haredi system. Is there anything
like what does like chore fall into? Like what is that, a mamad?
I think chorev is in the mamad, you know,
category.
Yeah, but
category.
It's a private.
But that,
It's a private school, but it would be
that would
similar
be
to
compared to like
Hafter Yeshiva Flatbush, something like that. Yeah, I think you could find
anything.
You could find basically, you know,
Yeah.
parallel-ish type schools. You know, you could find like an SAR-ish kind of a place. You could, whatever you want.
They're saying you'll find parallel. I'm saying you will not find any school in Israel that is exactly like a school
Right.
in America. It just doesn't exist. But there's a lot of
enough.
There's enough that you'll have a group of friends. And
the core things will be there for you.
So let's just add another point. Did you find that, like, specifically Anglos moving to Israel, the parents, and I think you mentioned this a little bit, the parents have to like step in a little bit in education.
Yeah.
They're much more a part of the education than just leaving it to the school.
Yeah.
Because of the differences.
And also the school day is shorter. So the parents are more connected. And the kids also have more opportunities to do all kinds of things. They could, learn how to play accordion or something.
So the most Israeli thing you could
in theory. It's an example. In theory.
Avi's mother actually plays accordion.
There you go. See, there's a musical family. Yeah. But whereas in America, you come home from school at 6:00 and then you have like zero life, and here it's different. You have a whole, there's school and then there's your life too. A kid have that.
Amazing.
I do supplement English though.
I
do supplement English because I want my kids not just to speak, but I want them to read, and I want them to have that like leg up when they go to work one day.
Yes.
If they go
I think that's very important.
If they go to work.
Yeah.
I think we do the same thing, which is, and I think that's really the answer for anybody, whether you're coming in from the right or from the left, you will most probably want to supplement something.
It's literally one thing. It's English. I'm saying in America, you guys could be supplementing like Chumash, Gemara, Hebrew. I mean, I went to Hafter for 12 years, and I could have used Hebrew supplements growing up.
Right, but and here it's like supplementing, giving them a little bit more of the. Okay, Joe, we have any more?
We have a bunch.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll take a few more.
I think this is for Avi. What's the average time it'll take to get a job in tech/real estate, especially if you can't plan anything from America?
If you can't,
plan anything
Plan
from
anything.
America,
That's a good question.
like how long do you think once they move here that they could actually get in if they?
so that's a very good question. When it comes down to landing your first job, so a lot of networking helps, and the networking world out here is the American networking world is tremendous. I mean, Hillel Fold, if you guys remember that guy. Another shout out to Hillel
He's
Fold.
great. Shout out to Hillel Fold. He's a tremendous networker.
Yeah, he is. I was his. I mean, I've been working in the Israeli high tech world for many years, but I was his 95th placement or something like that.
Wow.
He placed 95 people, never gets paid for it. So if you have certain skill sets and if you have certain background, it shouldn't take long. What you might need to do is take a step down, right? Meaning like, well, I've been this level of an executive for the past X amount of years. So when I'm entering the new job market, I might have to take a more junior position just to get in there, potentially not. You could actually just go in and say, hey, look at my whole experience, and then and land a senior position. But again, it really just depends. But it also depends on the job market. Okay, so let's be realistic. Corona has had a major effect on the Israeli high-tech industry. I mean, my company called Coronet, we had to go through some certain adjustments due to Corona. Thank God, we're able to plow through it. But I've been hearing that many of my friends who have unfortunately been furloughed or put on chalat, they call it. So the job market in the high-tech industry in Israel has flattened a little bit due to the worldwide financial situation.
Okay, but you feel that overall there's a Fargininen type of environment of networking, working out for one another,
course,
helping
sure.
one another.
There's also like tons of message boards and Jane Glow and like there's job fairs, things
Yeah.
like that.
And
Nefesh B'Nefesh helps.
Very involved.
Django helps. Israel Jobs, whatever. Those are all these things that are there to help people. And then you can call me, and I help people wherever I can.
Okay, amazing. I think we'll take a few more questions. We have a little surprise game for our panelists, and then I want to also end off with some closing remarks. Let's take another one or two questions.
Okay, I think this is a question for anyone. How much is the cost of living approximately out there? When you take into account home expenses, bills, education, groceries, what do you think is a recommended minimum to be able to keep afloat each month?
Okay, cost of living, taking everything into account.
I don't think you can really compare it. First of all, how many people are you feeding? I'm saying also, like right off the bat, you're not paying for tuition or healthcare or high real estate taxes here, but your groceries cost more money here. Right. So I'm saying it still probably doesn't equal out to tuition, healthcare, and real estate tax, but maybe on a day-to-day life, you might be spending a little bit more money. But there are also ways to cut costs.
Correct.
And depends on every person's expectation of lifestyle and
which community you move into.
Right.
Don't come to Rehavia.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't come to Rehavia. Move
Yeah.
to Ramat Beit Shemesh, Gimel, and even if you move to Beitar.
Yeah, or up north or down
north,
south,
yeah.
where cost of living is a whole,
I will tell you, in Ramat HaNegev, you can get 200 meters of land for $300,000. I know because we just went. It's $300,000 for 200 meters of land.
So there you go.
It's amazing.
Wow.
So definitely day-to-day living is a little bit more expensive, but yet you're saving on tuition.
Yeah, that's a big savings. In America, people have to have the crazy jobs
And
just to
summer
afford
camps,
tuition. Yeah.
right? Just the standards.
Well, our
are
summer
slightly
camps are
different.
pretty expensive.
but they're not so expensive. I'm saying because
But
you're
no,
not
they
spending
are because it's only 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Right.
But
So
the
if you
school-
multiplied that by 2 weeks.
But the
though-
school year is much longer,
Right.
right? The Haredi school system. I don't know what it's like in America, but I'm pretty sure it's
For
not like
boys,
this.
for boys.
For boys, the Haredi school system goes till Tisha B'Av.
Whoa.
Right. And the girls have camps through July usually.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's in
tonight, yeah.
school.
Yeah,
So
July.
like the Israeli school system.
It's really like
does-
a month that you need to have the summer,
Right.
Yeah.
take care of them in the summer.
Yeah.
Right.
So and so,
Someone from
so
the
to
crowd-
summarize,
Danielle,
Yeah.
someone from the crowd wants to know where that apartment you said for $300,000.
It's not apartment, it's a land. You can message me on Instagram. I will tell you all about it. Also, the entire Ramat HaNegev is energy, like solar power energy. So it's clean energy and your bills are very, very low. And with the 200 meters, you get 70 meters land for gardening. I might move there myself. I don't know. It's a magical place. It's in the middle of nowhere, but it's amazing.
You guys are going to see Ramat HaNegev now going up. That's it. Everyone is moving Ramat HaNegev. I don't even know where that is, but it's exciting.
It's in the Negev. It's in the Negev, and it's amazing.
Yeah, if you're open-minded and you're going to live in the Negev, then it's great. You could do that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, I want to play.
Quickly, Danielle mentioned that healthcare doesn't cost anything. What does that mean that healthcare does not cost? Don't you have to pay for health insurance?
So healthcare here is socialized. There's a few different healthcare systems. It's semi-socialized. So when you come, socialized. It's semi-socialized, meaning you can pay private.
Oh, you can. You have the option, yeah.
So, and then so you have Milchadet, Maccabi. Are there other ones?
There's
okay. There's a few other ones. And basically, you're automatically, as a citizen, given access, eligible to one of those healthcare systems. But then if you want to pay a small fee every month, you can upgrade to a better plan, which allows you, let's say, a certain amount of appointments a year with out-of-network doctors or therapists or things like that. Sometimes it's covered fully. Sometimes you pay and you have to go to the main branch and get money back. But the healthcare costs are very, very low.
Very low.
The small fee that she was referring to is like 200 shekel a month.
For an entire family.
$50 a month for an entire family.
Yeah, for a family.
And that's for the advanced, more higher level.
Yeah, that's the highest level.
Yeah.
So healthcare highest level is like you guys pay
$600 a year.
$600 a year.
And it's amazing.
And let's talk about tuition. How much do you pay a year or a month?
You pay more for busing than for tuition. No, I'm not
joking.
It's
like school cost?
It's like 350 shekel a month for the boys.
As the girls get into high school, it might be a little bit more, but it includes food. Right,
my schooling for my girls is
you pay
basically
shekel a month.
Just for the boys.
Just for the boys, $100 a month.
Yeah, my girls I think is right. My girls is free.
How much do we pay?
Girls are free.
Free.
Yes.
And I pay like
Shekel
I think 100, maybe 100 shekel a month for one of my kids to stay till 4. It's really
we're
nothing.
talking about almost nothing when we're talking about practical.
Yeah, I know. My kids are in college. My wife is saying that what? How much do we pay? 14,000 shekel a year.
You get a milga. You get.
Yeah, 2/3 of it is taken off if from the army. Yeah.
If you're a new Oleg, college is gonna be free here.
Yeah. You were a chayal. Everything.
That is a good thing to know, though.
It's
much better to make aliyah from there, and than to do it from here. You get more benefits if you come from there.
From where?
From Chutz La'aretz.
Yes.
It's better to make aliyah from outside of Israel than from inside of Israel, and it's better to just make aliyah right away because you get more benefits.
That's true.
Yeah.
Raviti,
yes.
I don't know if anyone can address this question, but a bunch of questions came in about moving with older kids.
Do it anyway.
Okay, first of all, let Tzvi.
Look, I moved when I finished high school. That's when I moved, and I came straight into yeshiva with my friends, and then they all left after a year, and I stayed and I went to the army. And look, in the beginning, there is a lonely period. It is. It's not easy. It's not easy, and it's a little bit lonely. But you got to man up, and that's it. I mean, this is life. You know. Anyway, once you get married, you don't need any other friends. You have your wife, you're good.
I think that is probably the biggest challenge to anybody coming, and my heart really goes out to you because if you feel like you missed the boat because your children are older, that concern is valid, and it's a hard one to overcome. But that doesn't mean it's not overcomable. I don't personally know the skills that you may need to overcome that, but I would say the number one thing that could probably help you is finding a community to go to. Like
I know a few families that have done it. I mean, I don't want to calling out all the things, but the Samters have done it, and other people. I'm saying even the Riots have done it. Like I'm saying, we know it hasn't been done en masse, but they do it, and they mesh in.
Yes,
and
you find a community. That's really a big key factor. Don't pick up your American kids, your American 15-year-old daughter, and put her in, I don't know where.
Right.
in a very Israeli neighborhood.
Right.
Like find a place with more Americans where there will be high school girls that speak English. Come to Rehavia. We'll take good care of her.
And I know from teaching in yeshiva and seminary, these high school kids, these teenagers in America, they have their own challenges too. It's not like you live over there, it's challenge free. There's never going to be an issue.
But the reality is, as
That's
a
a concern.
mechanech, is that it's a very, very real concern.
It is a concern.
And
Yes.
it's someone, people should be in touch with their rebbeim, with their mechanchim, and with communities before you make that move, because it's hard. And we know of many families that made it and it was too hard, because Israelis do have that. And the big challenge is for us, the people who already moved to Israel, or Israelis, how are we accepting, how are we welcoming the new families that are coming in? Are we saying, oh, now you come,
Yeah.
look at you, and what did you do? So it's like, it's really the mindset
The
of,
biggest benefit that, like the biggest thing that I think everybody watching this has going for them right now is that they're all watching this together. So I'm saying probably a good portion of the people on here have teenagers or, preteen, adolescent, whatever, children that want to come to Israel. And the truth is that, maybe everything going on in the political climate right now will push a lot of people to move here that wouldn't necessarily take that plunge. And the truth is all of these teenagers will create its own community the same way when we came, we sort of had to create our own community. And then you sort of mix in and everybody meshes in, and 10 years later, you don't know who's who anyway. So it all works out, but you can all come together.
But I do feel that people do help each other. Like you say, hey, what was your high school experience? Tell me, how do you apply? And everyone, share that information. Yeah.
and I think, and we'll start wrapping it up with that. I think we're at a unique point in time where it's not just individuals who are making Aliyah. It's not just one family who picked up and went, but rather there's a wave now in the yeshivish community, in modern communities, in the Syrian community, in communities from different places around the world and around the United States that are thinking, and it's not just individuals, but it's groups of people, families getting together, like, let's move. This is the time, this is the chance. We have to be realistic. Yes, there are challenges. Reading the Parshios right now, there are challenges. We have to overcome battles before we're able to enter the land of Eretz Yisrael. We have to, the leadership changes, the people change. There's a lot of things that ended up changing on our journey to Eretz Yisrael, and it's still true nowadays on this journey to Eretz Yisrael through the generation that we're living through. But the people that are here are really examples, living examples of people who made it, who are keeping their eye on the ball and really trying to focus on that. I want to, conclude with your closing remarks, because there's a lot of people out there. We've been asking a lot of questions. We're most probably going to do a few more events trying to address some questions. But if you were to send people away with a message, with one message from your personal experience, one message from something that you feel, this is your feeling about the time period that's going on in the world, about the shakeup in the United States or whatever it is, as somebody who's made it already before, what would your message be to people who are now thinking, maybe this is my chance to move to Eretz Yisrael, but I'm very nervous, maybe it's not, or any other message that you want to leave the hundreds of people that are viewing us?
I can start by saying very simple. You're not running away from anything. You're running to Kedusha, Tahara, Eretz Yisrael. You're not escaping, in the middle of the night to go to another. I don't want to say like he's I don't want to get to that topic, but you're running towards the place that the Rebbeinu Shalom always had in mind for us to live. That's it. So like if you have that mentality,
So then you go with it.
you have Siyata D'Shmaya.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'll say that my wife and I every so often have these nightmares. And in the nightmare, we're still living in America. We wake up like, how did that even happen? And you wake up, oh my God, I'm in Israel. Oh, thank God. Thank God. Because here you're settled. Here is your spot. This is where you're going to be. This is it. This is it. All the wandering is done. You come here, you feel settled. It's good.
And Mekayim all the mitzvahs properly.
Yeah.
There's so many mitzvahs that you can do. I'm saying even from a spiritual perspective, if a Yid, a Jewish person wants to live his life on a more spiritual level, So
Yeah.
mitzvahs plus ba'aretz. These are things that you can't be mekayim.
I'll tell you, you know what Chutz La'aretz life is like? Chutz La'aretz life is like when you have a minion on a plane. Like you can manage, you manage to have a minion on a plane. You're standing near the bathroom, there's people walking around, bumping into you, people get angry at you. So you davened, okay, you davened, but that's not how you're supposed to daven, yeah? That's life in America. Jewish life in America is daven. True, it's true, but there's...
Well, you're saying there's something that's...
Yeah, it's transitory, it's not,
amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
I don't know, because I don't want to like pressure anybody here. So I'm just going to talk to my parents and my brothers, who are probably not listening because my parents are making a vart today for my brother. Yeah, but this is what I want to say to my parents and my brothers. What are you doing there? Like, no, really. Why are you still there? Why are you still there? I'm here. I came. I made things easier for you. You're going to come. I'm going to show you where to shop. I'm going to help you with the bureaucracy. I'm going to help you navigate. I'm going to set up your apartment before you come. I'm going to stock the fridge. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to have you for Shabbos whenever you need. What are you doing there? And I think that you can say that to every person. Like, we're all brothers and sisters. We're all family. We're all Klal Yisrael. Come here and you will be we will help you. We will help you because the Americans that came before me, they paved the way. There's Ziploc bags now. We have Ziploc bags, okay?
Yeah.
We have Ziploc bags, but really, like, you can come. It's not, you can do it.
So
You can do it, and we're here, and we're waiting for you. And this is Israel, and there's no way. You can't make a pro and con list because it doesn't make sense. Because at the end of the day, on the Israel list, it's just Israel. It's just a love. And you have to be here and fall in love and feel connected to the land. And eventually you're sad. You're sad when you have to leave. You're sad when you have to get on a plane. There's nothing like it because our neshamas are already connected. So just come and open your hearts and feel that connection. And I'm really sorry, Mom, Dad, Eric, Benjamin, I'm putting you all on the spot. I expect you to be here. Mashiach is coming. You're going to miss it. Get over here already. Come.
Wow.
Come.
Wow.
And we keep one day on tip. So.
Oh, there you go.
There you
Just
go.
dropped it.
One thing.
So first of all, you can't beat that, and I think that's what is so unique, and what I hope the viewers are watching is the real passion and the feeling for the people who make the jump, and it's not easy, and they work through it, but then they focus on, like, we're doing it, we're living here in Eretz Yisrael, and that's when you get it. And I could even, how long did it take you to feel that?
6 years.
6
6
years.
years. Every 6 months, I told my husband, I'm like, let's go back. And he was like, 6 more months, 6 more months.
6 years, sure.
6 years, finally. I was like, oh, I'm never leaving.
Yeah, my wife says it was like around 10 years, and I'm half Israeli.
Wow.
You know, so it's like
Wow.
easier, but that's okay, and that's okay. The reason why I'm saying that is because that's okay. It takes 6 years. It takes 10 years to adjust. It might even take a little bit more, and it might take your children less or more, but that's part of the process. But that's okay. That's we're coming, and then you feel like you're living the dream. It's an amazing thing. Yes, Joe. Yes.
A lot of people are writing, it's not so easy with financial problems, and they're very worried about the financing and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you guys can talk about it. Making a living, again, I know we talked about it, but we keep on getting comments about.
You gotta hustle. If you gotta hustle and you're gonna put stuff together and you're gonna be open-minded and you're gonna be flexible and you're gonna take this job and that job and you'll just do whatever you can and it'll work out.
And you're going to sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'm saying I live alone for most, I mean, not now, thank you, Corona. But, you know, like, I live alone for most of the year because Ellie's job is not in this country. So he goes back and forth, and it's not ideal, and I would not give it up for 1 second. I would not give it up for 1 second, and he gets to do what he loves, and we get to live here. And every single person here has a story.
Yeah.
Every single couple you meet, Israeli, American, Belgian, British, South African, everybody has a story. Everybody has something unique about what they're doing, how they're managing, how they're pulling it off. And there's no busha and there's no anything. And you just, you put your head down and you do the work and you do your ishtadlus and then you daven. Because whatever country you live in, your parnasa was determined on Rosh Hashanah. You literally are doing nothing to affect it. You're just doing your ishtadlus so Hashem could send the money down. It doesn't matter. Like,
there we go.
So come here and the same parnasa that you were guaranteed on Rosh Hashanah is going to come to you here.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you, last summer, my wife and I we were in Florida for a wedding. We see every car there was shiny, brand new. We're like, what's going on over here? Everyone has a new car. In Israel, people drive around with these cars, you know.
Don't remind me.
They need, right? They need paint. They need this. The door, you got to open a special. But that's okay. There you go, right? But that's okay here. That's okay here. Cars doesn't matter. And your life car doesn't really matter.
And I would like to just add one thing. It's all about risk. It's a risk assessment, right? I'm not 100% sure. Like the only reason why Parnassa is such a heavy thing on Americans' minds, I'm going to be careful how I say it, is because you're choosing financial stability, or what you think financial stability is, over spiritual growth. So in your minds, it's, well, what am I doing on this planet? Let's go back to, why did God create man? So God created man to enjoy in his splendor. Let's learn some Mesilas Yesharim. Let's get some Musar in there, boys and girls.
Created women
Right?
also.
What?
Created women also.
Women also. Oh yeah, mankind.
Mankind.
So the idea is that, you know, Li'asana Gal Hashem, the Rebbeinu Shalom created us to serve Him, and the purpose of life is not to amass wealth, right? Come on, Rabbi Isai, we're talking about a life of spiritual growth versus physical or material wealth. And so, what am I going to do if I have to sacrifice my materialism? Well, welcome to
life.
Welcome to life.
Welcome to life.
Welcome
This
to
is life.
And in the end of the day, hold on, there's one more thing, which is with regards to the risk, meaning the financial situation in America is not so peachy. It doesn't look like in the next, let's be realistic, it doesn't look like the next 6 to 12 months that there's going to be a huge uptick of some of the, you know, the major industries. It looks like the thing is about to collapse. So like the stability that you think that you have enjoyed for the past 30, 50, 100 years of American wealth,
which we all enjoyed from as well. Meaning we have to put things on the table. Meaning Eretz Yisrael is very much dependent, and what the yeshivas and the tzedakahs and was dependent
And just the
on
country itself.
The entire country is dependent on Americans who gave tzedakah, who support. And now there's a little bit of a shift. Now it's like, okay, not just support, but come by yourself and maybe give up that. But my chelik was always supporting it. And that's really where people's questions are. And you're talking about a shift. It's a big shift in people's minds, and people need to take that into account. And that's something that's a big transition. I would say if I could leave my 2 cents is that I remember when I came here, and I grew up Israeli, but I moved to New York when I was 8. When I came here, I found myself very hard, you know, everyone puts you in a box over here. Which box do you belong? Are you this? Are you that? And I sort of belonged to many different boxes, and it was hard for me to put in a box. And I found myself going to more of an American institution because of that. And I'm involved in Eshat Torah because world Jewry was easier for me than just Israel, even though now I'm dealing with Israelis. But I found, and this was a turning point in my personal life, and I see it with you as well, is that you embrace who you are.
Right.
Who you are as being American, Israeli, being Haredi, and open to the world, and being from, and being very passionate about your Hashkafa, and loving Eretz Yisrael, and loving the Torah, and loving Rabbanim, and loving Hasidus, and whatever it is that you're passionate about. Take all of that, and that's a uniqueness that you bring to the Israeli market in the business, in chinuch, in community building, and in a certain way, I would say, as an educator here in Israel, Israel needs them. Yeah. Israel needs you. Israel needs you. We need that type of achdus, that type of broadness that brings the passion of Torah and the love of Israel and the love and the success in the business world. That whole package that American Jewry has from its entire spectrum is something that Israel really needs. And I think that's the final step of making Israel a better place.
Yeah, the people there who were saying, oh, Israelis are rude. So all you polite Americans, you come here and you'll change the culture. You'll change it, give people personal space, and the whole culture changes.
Yeah, it really is like that. Okay, Joe, you want to have any last remarks before we say our goodbyes?
We just really appreciate you guys, Rav ETL, Rav Avi, Rav Ron, and Danielle. You guys were unbelievable. Really unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Okay, it was a real source for us to be here. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Joe Klein from Just One Chesed, from putting this together. If you didn't download the app, they have swag over here. Just One Chesed. Download the app. It's super important. You know, it bridges together people who want to volunteer and Chesed organizations who need volunteers. It's an amazing thing, and really, what an honor to sit here with you guys and to hear your passion and your love for Eretz Yisrael.
Also, Ravitiel, a lot of people are asking for the recording. There will be a recording on YouTube. We're going to send it out to our email list, please God. So if anyone wants the recording, stay tuned.
Okay, great.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
And we're still on.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Again, download the Just One Chesed app. Help us continue to spread more Chesed. justonechesed.org/donation. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming. If you would like the recording, please God, we'll send it out in the next couple days. Thank you so much, everyone.